Howdy, y'all. It's Brett. I want to introduce you to Renee King Sonnen. She is the founder and the woman in charge of Rowdy Girl Sanctuary in Walter, Texas. Welcome, Renee.
Thank you, Brett. It's so good to be here always.
Glad to have you. I'm just going to get started with questions. I know you pretty well, but there's a lot of folks who don't. So let's start. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Jacinto City, Texas. It was a little blue collar town east of Houston, and went to Galena Park High School.
Okay, and San Jacinto is where the battle and the final battle, wasn't it? Where the star sits up on the.
Well, it's not San Jacinto, it's Jacinto City.
Jacinto.
It's not to be confused.
Okay, then I confuse it. Where is Jacinto? I'm not familiar.
Jacinto City is like I said, it's east of Houston. It's near Channel Views, North Shore,
Deer Park.
It's sort of Galena Park.
Galena Park.
Galena Park.
Okay, yeah.
Pasadena.
Yeah.
I was a Gillies rat. I used to go to Gillies all the time back in the day and stuff.
Really? Well, a lot of people may not know that you actually are a country and western singer. How did you get into that?
I am. Wow. Well, I actually in high school was very shy, believe it or not. And
really?
I was very insecure and not very popular, like in the sense of, that's not that I was unpopular, but I didn't stand out at all in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And my best friend told me that my senior year that she would pretty much disown me if I didn't enter a beauty contest. We always had this big 4-H beauty contest at our school every year. And I was like, what? She said, because we had a talent division and talent, swimsuit, interviews, the whole thing. Well, anyway, I entered this contest and won talent, but I wouldn't practice in front of any of my schoolmates. There was 30 people. I was number 10, and I would only practice at home. And the director was very, very terrified. We had a band, a big orchestra that was learning my music. It's called "Do You Know Where You're Going To" by Diana Ross, and it wasn't country. It was not at all country, but it was our theme song of our high school 1976 anthem, if you would. Mm-hmm. And so I won talent and I got a standing ovation, and it was that kind of sparked my singing bug.
Really? Wow. Yeah, and that song's playing in my head. I'm very familiar with that. Well, good for you.
Really? Yeah.
Did you, as a kid, earlier on, was there anything that you aspired to be or do, that kind of thing? Or was it just, you're just busy being a kid?
Oh, when I was a kid, I was going to be the next Elvis Presley. I really loved singing Elvis Presley. And I loved I would sing and dance on the porch to all his songs. And I think that's what I really wanted to do when I was a kid. When I was a kid, my daddy wanted me to be an anesthesiologist, but I couldn't even say the word back then, let alone spell it. So
right. Okay. What about like when you were a kid? Did you have a favorite dish or kind of food you liked eating?
When I was a kid, I really did. You're not going to believe what I ate, what I really loved back then. Those bones that have bone marrow in the middle of it? Those bones that have bone marrow? I love the middle of the bone. Oh, God. It was like my mom and daddy ate that, and they told us to eat it, and ugh, and I can't believe I ever ate that. And I always loved those boxes of Kraft mac and cheese. Yeah.
Understood. Okay. I was just, kind of curious. And how did you arrive at plants being your total food source or vegan? Tell us that story.
Oh, wow. Well, as far as plants being my food source, that happened on a Texas cattle ranch. And so, I I was never planning to go vegan. It was never in my thoughts that I was going to go vegan. I had played around with even going raw one time when I was practicing yoga. I was vegetarian for a while. I did the raw diet because I was experimenting, but I didn't go vegan. But as far as plant-based goes, I don't know how much you want to know about all that. It was the whole story. It's like that's a story of when me and Tommy, were together and on the cattle ranch, and I started falling in love with the cows. I never knew, I really never knew that I would even like cows until I moved out there. I didn't really want to move out there in Angleton, but I did. And Tommy wanted me to be more involved with the cattle ranch, and I didn't really want to. I was from Texas and a rhinestone cowgirl. I like the, collection of leather boots and all the leather clothes, and went to the rodeo every year. And I was very involved in the rodeo. And, as far as being in, not like I was in the rodeo riding horses or nothing, but I was very involved in committees and things like that. And so anyway, I didn't want to be involved at the cattle ranch. And Tommy told me about these two calves that needed a mama. And one of them was Rowdy Girl. And I bought these two calves, and, I'm plant-based because of Rowdy Girl. I mean, Rowdy Girl turned my world upside down. She showed me things that I'd never seen. She made me feel things I've never felt. It was when I was bottle feeding her that I actually saw everybody else. It was, I saw their sentience through her. I felt their sentience through her. I could identify their individuality through her. And so she's like a conduit of me. I don't know where she ends and where I begin. And it's because of her that I now eat plants. But it's a long story.
But you're here today, and I have yet to met or speak with anyone who's vegan who's like, oh yeah, I think it's a passing phase.
No, it's not a passing phase. When becoming an ethical vegan, you actually, for me anyway, you leave the system, the structure of normalized violence. It's like you don't even know you're in it until you go vegan for the animals. You don't even know you're in that system. And when you go vegan for the animals, you're in a whole different system, a different framework. And you see that they're just like us. They're just like us. So, but we're not taught that. We are definitely not taught that.
And so I know that Tommy wasn't exactly open to the concept. And so you raised money to buy the herd from him rather than take them to the sale barn, because, sale barns are no fun. And
they're horrible.
Yeah, I've been to a few in my life, and no, they're not a happy place. Since you started Rowdy Girl, and when did you start the sanctuary? Was that 15?
Yeah, February the 20th, 2015 is our birthday. This month we'll be 8 years old.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I know, when you were down in Angleton, you got flooded 2 or 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah. But now where you're at, as long as it keeps raining, um, it's a much better place there in Walter, right?
Well, it's got its ups and downs. I mean, we don't get flooded, but we've been, faced with a huge drought, cost us $50,000 last year. And we've been in the middle of a big, huge Texas apocalyptic freeze, which cost us thousands of dollars. And we were down without electricity for almost 2 weeks, and that was no fun. And so I don't know, I think climate change kind of follows you wherever you go, it seems these days. At least
Yeah.
that's the way it feels for me. And yeah, it's we may not get flooded, but that drought last year was real. We
Mhm.
really suffered through it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, hopefully this year will be a little more well behaved. Here's hoping.
We sure hope so.
What would you say is the most, you've been doing this a while, so what would you say is the most challenging aspect of running the sanctuary?
Well, I want to answer a question I didn't answer that you asked me about the sale barn. Why you asked me a question, but I didn't answer it. So the question about the sale barn was, I want to make sure that I answer that question. And
Sure.
so, because otherwise the sanctuary makes no sense to people. But my husband wanted to take all the animals to the sale barn because I had gone vegan on October 31st, 2014. That's the day I went vegan. It was on Halloween. And I could not and would not accept my husband sending the animals to sell anymore. And we had many, many fights. And so one day in the middle of the pasture, we had a good old Texas showdown, and we were fighting, hollering, and screaming. And I said to him, if you take them cows up the road one more time, I'm going to follow you, and I will bring them all back, and I'll spend your money. I'll use your credit card. I'll buy them back. Don't even try me. And I was serious as they come. He knew it.
Mhm.
And I said, I'll be that vegan in California. I will wave flags. I will do whatever I can. I will call you a murderer to whatever. And I was that serious, and he knew it. And so that's how the cows ended up. That's how I ended up with the cows, because I did a fundraiser and I bought the cows. He never thought that I would do that, but I did. I bought the cows and started Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. And so now I can answer your question about the sanctuary, how difficult it is, what the challenges are. Challenges of the sanctuary. Is that what you want to know first?
Yeah, what your biggest challenge is.
I think the biggest challenge is always funding, enough funding. And also the challenge is, gosh, we don't have enough land to save all the animals that need help. And, you know, if it doesn't matter how much land I had, I could fill it up with animals that need help.
Right.
And that's a real problem for me. And then the funding to take care of the ones we have, long term, because the animals we have are all rescued from slaughter. And so they're not raised to live their entire lives. They're raised to live till they're 6 months old, typically, most of them. So, when you take care of these animals forever, they experience all sorts of, aches and pains and geriatric conditions as they age, just like we do. And so you have to be able to accommodate the different populations. And so that's a big challenge, is
Yeah.
funding.
Plus, a lot of them are bred to be taken apart at 6 months of age. So when they're allowed to live for years, they actually outgrow themselves in many cases, don't they? So they do have more issues with joints
They
and
do.
movement and that
They
kind
do.
of.
You're absolutely right. Especially them chickens and a lot of those broiler chickens and all. I mean, we have one left of a flock that we got.
From Colorado?
She's amazing in Colorado. We have one left, and then we have all the pigs that we rescued from FFA. They're not supposed to be 900 pounds. You know, yeah, it's terrible. That they breed them to be so big.
Mhm. Yeah, it's bizarre to say the least. Um,
Yes, it
so
is.
you guys have a documentary coming out this year. Um, and that's going to, is there a pre-release party coming up? And then do you know when it's going to be completely released or?
Well, the Rowdy Girl film what is finished, and Moby's the executive producer. Jason Goldman is the filmmaker and the director. And it from what I understand, there is a UK and a United States sales rep now, and he's pitching it to all sorts of film festivals. And we're going to have a private screening. We'll probably have more than one, but we're going to have one this month on February the 25th. And so that screening, is exciting. It's only going to be invited. You have to be a subscriber to come, but yeah, it's going to be fun.
That's exciting. It's I've seen it and I think it tells a great story.
The exciting thing about it, because it's not gory, there's no slaughterhouse footage, but veganism and the message comes through loud and clear, and we're going to be able to find home for that movie in like schools, even elementary schools, even all sorts of school districts. So we'll be able to cross over with that.
That's great. And I know you went to, was it Nepal last year?
I did. I went to Kathmandu.
And how was that experience?
Wow. That was a game changer for me. It had so many contrasts. It was so beautiful and so unbelievably shocking to see, like wet markets in the street. Everything is so they don't have the infrastructure we have, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty is beyond compare. It's so beautiful. And I got to go to the Buddhist temple where Buddha was born, and that was amazing, to be part of all that. And I'm very spiritual anyway, and so I really resonated with all those teachings, and just being in the presence of all those people, and getting to speak, in all kinds of regions in Kathmandu. I spoke in 3 different regions, and Pokhara, Lumbini, which is where Buddha was born, and Kathmandu. So yeah, got to fly in little planes, going over the mountains, and that's where Mount Everest is. And so I was way up high. Got to meet a lot of people, got to taste some really good food. The fruit, oh my God.
Yeah.
I am not a papaya lover, but I fell in love with papayas. And now, I would love to go to Kathmandu just to eat the papayas.
Okay. Fair enough. No, it looked like a wonderful time. What anything on the calendar this year that you're real excited about?
Yeah, I'm going to speak at a spiritual center that Victoria Moran Main Street Vegan is a part of, and also a girl named Carol Sanders, I think. And I can't think of the city and state it's in, but I think it's called the Spiritual Forum. And so I'm gonna kind of be able to almost take a sermon up there.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it'll be fun.
It is. It's going to be fun. Gene Bauer spoke at it last year. And so I was very honored to be asked to go up there and be part of this. So
that's cool. Well, in addition to,
and then also
yeah.
Oh, I just want you to know, I don't want to forget, because next month I'll be in Washington D.C. With Connie Spence. We'll be talking to the Senate Ag Committee and others, in office about the Farm Bill and doing what we can. So.
And that's with the Agricultural Fairness Alliance?
Yes, the Agriculture Fairness Alliance. And yeah, I'm on the board.
What's the mission of the Agricultural Fairness Alliance for people who don't know?
Well, the mission of AFA is to bring, plant-based subsidies into our government, to have equal and fair accessibility for farmers. And so, right now it's 100%, rigged so that cattle ranchers and chicken farmers, the cattle ranchers basically, more than any of them get all the money. Cattle ranchers, chicken integrators, the big chicken integrators like Tyson or whatever, all those big guys, Purdue, they're all like together in this big good old boy mentality. And so Connie's moving up there, and I'm going to be going up there once a quarter with her to help make a difference. They're going to be positioning me in conservative Christian type channels, so that we can try to bridge some gaps. I mean, otherwise you're just speaking to the choir. So,
right. No, that's good. That's good. I mean, it was good enough for Adam and Eve, right? So
that's right.
So it seems fitting. And in addition, you also run the Rancher Advocacy Program. Could you tell us what that's about?
Sure. The Rancher Advocacy Program, Brett, was it was an organic. It happened organically because of our story. When my story went viral on CBS Evening News, millions of people. I mean, I don't know how many times it's been seen over a million times. And so I could just imagine, being a cattle rancher or farmer and sitting in your living room eating your dinner, and all of a sudden these cattle ranchers that turn vegan come on your screen, with CBS Evening News.
What?
And they're going, "Hey, Mom, y'all come look at this," But I had cattle ranchers and their families calling me out of the woodwork, reaching out to me, and it was the most bizarre thing. It blew up our website. It wouldn't even work. I mean, I was not prepared for all that. And I found myself talking to cattle ranchers and their families all the time, because they would call me wanting to know, how we did it. And they wanting to know, they were wanting to tell me a lot of times how they felt about the animals, like some of them, not all of them, but just some of them.
Sure.
They would fall in love with some of them, and, they wanted to find a home for some of them, but not all of them. But this cow over here is so special, I can't tell you how many times I've heard a cattle rancher tell me how special that one is. And I'm like, oh my God. And, but that's how the Rancher Advocacy Program was conceived. Was I found myself talking to them all the time. And that's not something most vegans do. I don't know any vegans like really that just go, "Hey, I think I want to talk to a cattle rancher today, just hang out, But I found myself doing it, and yeah.
Well, it's different in that y'all lived it. So it's not like you're going, "Oh, yeah." You know what I mean? So that's neat. That's how it happened. And so the Rancher Advocacy Program has evolved.
You know, it's really about making a connection to the animals for me, but it's also about trying to help them find another way to live on their land. You know, it's evolved to, you know, well, yeah, it's one thing to have a connection to the animals, but what am I going to do? Because the system has rigged it so if you own a bunch of land, you're going to, you know, pay a bunch of taxes if you don't have animals, you know, if you're not in animal agriculture. So, you know, it's, they don't know what to do, you know, and it's hard. And so that's what rap does. Rap is we educate, we inspire, we help people see different ways. Not that we can solve all the problems, because we can't, but we are helping, you know, a family in Arkansas, because I've had lots of help doing it. But you know, we are helping a chicken farmer in Arkansas and a cattle rancher transition to mushrooms, and but that's not like we can help everybody do that right now. One day maybe there'll be a model and do that, but you know,
it's in its infancy, if
that's
you
what
will.
rap is. In its infancy. And we've had cattle ranchers go vegan, like Cindy and Richard Traylor are totally vegan, 8th generation cattle ranchers, you know. And you know, we're reached out to all the time to do podcasts and other documentaries because of this work.
And how are things going at the Barrett farm? Now they had like 3 or 4 chicken barns, and I think what, every 50 something days they took tens of thousands of them to slaughter, that kind of thing, and they had a change of heart.
Yeah, every 62 days or so they would take yeah, just thousands and thousands of chickens. Yeah, it was pretty sad. And but yeah, I mean, you know, it's tough life over there right now. It's not easy doing what they're doing. So
All right. Well, at least, you know, they're finding a path to, because like you said, people want to be able to keep their land. And, you know, once you disengage animal usage, then you got to figure another way to subsidize that income.
what are you going to do? What are
Right.
you going to do? I mean, we are hopeful that we're going to help them. We're hopeful that we're going to help them have a state-of-the-art mushroom facility that we can, you know, model it after and help others. But there's no guarantees. I mean, we're slap dab in the middle of R&D and on all this. I mean, it's certainly going forward, but we're not, you know, like out here to say, hey, y'all do what we're doing. It's
Not out of the woods
this
yet.
was hard. This was hard for us, you know, it still is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I'm sure it'll be worth it. I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing.
Always.
What about, is there any one thing about you that people probably don't know about you that you'd like to share?
Well, I'm writing a book called Secret Diary of a Cattle Rancher's Wife. If you want to know all my secrets, you're gonna find out in that book. Because I promise you, I go into everything. But I think the one thing that people probably don't know about me is just, well, I'm sober, 100% sober, and I came from a very, very, very troubled childhood, and I conquered many, many odds because of my faith in God, and I'm very spiritual, and I study. I've studied the Bible inside out and forwards and backwards and upside down and sideways. And I've also studied Taoism, Sikhism, Buddhism, Hinduism. You know, I'm a seeker. I'm one of those that never finds. I'm always seeking. I believe once you find, you know, you think you got it. I don't think anybody ever has it. So it's all about seeking for me and never arriving. How's that for an answer?
I think it's an exceptional answer, actually. I think that's a winning answer for you and anyone, to be honest. How about, you know, as a kid, because I lived probably like you, I lived a meat-centric life, growing up. I wasn't a big fan of vegetables unless they were, potatoes. Is there any particular vegetables or fruits that, and I know you like papaya, but as a kid you didn't like that, as an adult you're like, how did I not like this? That you like today?
As a fruit or fruit and
Fruit
vegetables?
or vegetable. It could be both.
Okay. Well, as far as vegetables go, I used to hate onions, and I like them today most of the time. And I do, but I would never touch an onion. And then as far as fruit goes, I think I liked all fruits. I never had a problem with fruit. But vegetables, I wasn't really big on some of the cruciferous ones like broccoli and cauliflower, and today I love it. I
Mhm.
mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't, but I love it today, so yeah.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
love all kind of vegetables today. I mean, I always love going to the farmers markets and getting fresh produce. And, I
Mhm.
remember as a kid, produce used to just kind of wilt in our refrigerator and it
Mhm.
would get old,
Mhm.
and I don't know what we thought. I mean, do you think you go to the farmers market and get all this produce and put it in there and don't eat it for 2 weeks? I mean, you got to eat it like right away. That's the whole idea of farmers markets. You get
Right.
or having a garden, you want to eat it soon. And so I love, I love that. I love going to a farmer's market and supporting organic farms or veganic if they are like we are,
Mhm.
um, and having great food like that every day.
Okay, cool. Do you have a go-to snack? And I'm not looking for a plug. I'm just curious. Is there something that you're like, that's kind of like your go-to?
Well, my go-to snack, if I have to say what I snack on the most throughout the day, is Diamond Breeze chocolate milk. And so Tommy knows not to drink any chocolate milk out of my cartons because I drink it right out of the carton. And heaven forbid anybody else wants it. It's like, you're going to get all my germs because I do pour it in the glass when I eat. But I mean, like if I'm hungry, and I
Uh-huh.
really want a snack, I just go to the refrigerator. I always have like 4 half-gallon jugs in the refrigerator, so.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, all right, cool. I like that chocolate milk. Ew. When it comes to animals,
Diamond Breeze chocolate.
Diamond Breeze chocolate, and that's an almond. Is that almond?
Yeah, and they are not a sponsor, but you asked me, I'm telling you the truth. I'm just like, that is my go-to. And I also love just eggs, I mean, I can eat
I
them.
had that for
I love it.
lunch with potatoes,
Mhm.
onions, and tomatoes in it with it.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it too because I really enjoyed eggs, and
I do too.
so it's nice to have something that
Yeah.
is similar enough that it just makes everything right. you know.
Yeah. If you were asking my husband this question,
Yeah.
he would tell you all kind of things. Yeah, he would be all over. I drink. He eats all y'all's food jerky every day almost. I mean, but I don't. I eat it occasionally.
Right.
I'm an occasional, I
User.
like it, but I don't eat it every
I don't
I
either.
don't eat it every day. I just, yeah.
You know.
So
Okay.
we love it.
As far as animals, you got all kinds of animals out there, but is there one a type of animal that you like more than all? Not more than, but you're kind of drawn to more than others? Is it going to be
Cows.
cows?
Yeah, of course.
That
And my
makes,
cats.
are they social?
Cows and cats. What?
Are the cats social? Do they hang out with you, or are they just around you?
Oh yeah, I am a cat whisperer.
Okay, cool. That's neat.
Yeah, I'm a cow whisperer too. I'm a cow and a cat whisperer.
Mhm. I've seen you with the cows, and yes, you are. I've got one
Yeah.
more question for you, Renee. Um, that you care to share a book that you've read that's been most influential, or it could be a movie, but one or the other.
Oh, well, the book that comes to my mind, I'm an avid reader. So, but the one book since I've gone vegan that has heavily influenced me is Dr. Will Tuttle's book, World Peace Diet. The World Peace Diet should be a textbook in every school. It has informed me on so many levels. And if you want one, Brett, I'll send you one. And, I'm a very big fan of Will. He's a friend of mine. And that book bridges gaps for people. It really helps. He goes into things and helps you understand why we live in a society that is predominantly carnism. He helps you understand how it happened, how it all got started, and what we need to do to change. And then I'm reading a book right now. I'm just going to tell you, it's called Why Every Vegan Should Be Christian by
Mhm.
Ryan Hicks. And I got it in a book, and I got it on audio because it is so powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
There's tons and tons and tons. If you want to, if you search that Bible, you will find so many passages that are like totally about veganism. And so I'm studying that right now. That's my current big study.
Cool. Yeah, I like to know what you come up with. It'd be fun to have some scriptures to share with people sometimes. Um,
I can certainly do that.
no, that's great. Um, Renee, thanks for taking time to chat today. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. And
You're so
people
welcome. And I appreciate you.
and people can find out more. Y'all are on Facebook and Instagram, and it's rowdygirlsanctuary.org, right? The website?
Yeah, rowdygirlsanctuary.org. And we're also on TikTok and Twitter. And so we've got and YouTube. So you can catch us across the spectrum. And also the Rancher Advocacy Program is on all those channels, except for TikTok. It ain't on TikTok. And then there's the rancheradvocacy.org website as well.
Fantastic. Again, you do some amazing work. I'm glad to know you. And again, appreciate you taking the time to visit with us today and let people know a bit more about you.
Thank you. You had some good questions.
Okay. Thanks, Renee.